What do you do when your greatest gift becomes your greatest source of pain? This was the story of Kaelen, a master artist whose hands once created magic from stone. Now they were his prison. In total despair, he sought an answer from a wise man. When will my suffering finally end? The answer he received was a life sentence, 1,000 more days of pain. But what if that crushing destiny could be changed? What if the key to ending a lifetime of suffering was hidden in one simple, unbelievable secret? Stay with us, because this story isn't just about a sculptor. It's about finding the power to reshape your own reality, especially when you feel all hope is lost. In a lonely part of the northern mountains, where the sharp peaks touched a sky that was almost always gray, there was a small, hidden village. This village was known for just one thing: the beautiful stone statues made by a man named Kaelen. Kaelen was a special kind of artist. People said he didn't just carve stone, it felt like he was waking up a soul that was sleeping inside it. His statues of eagles looked like they were about to fly away. His statues of old kings seemed to hold all the secrets of the world in their stone eyes. But a long, hard winter came into Kaelen's life, and this winter never ended. A terrible sickness came into his hands. At first, it was just a small ache. Then it became a sharp pain. Soon his fingers twisted up and became stiff like the frozen branches of a dead tree. The tools he used to create his art now felt strange and heavy. His hands, which once gave life to stone, could now barely hold a cup of tea without shaking from pain. The village, which used to be busy with people who came to see his art, became quiet. The sound of Kaelen's hammer and chisel was gone. In its place, there was a deep silence. That silence was just like the empty feeling in the artist's heart. Kaelen's workshop became covered in dust. Unfinished statues stood around like ghosts, waiting for a touch that would never come again. Every day, Kaelen would sit by his window and look out at the cold fog that covered the village. The fog was a perfect picture of the sadness that had covered his own mind. He would look at his twisted hands and feel a deep anger. "Why," he would whisper to the empty room, "why give me such a wonderful gift, only to take it away from me like this? What is the point of my life if I can no longer do the one thing I was meant to do?" One afternoon, as the fog seemed extra cold, Kaelen saw a person walking up the long path to the village. This was strange. Not many people came to visit anymore. It was a young woman wearing a simple cloak for travel. She walked with a steady and sure step. As she got closer, she could see she had kind and smart eyes. Feeling a small spark of his old self, Kaelen walked slowly outside. He called out, his voice rough because he hadn't used it in a long time. "Traveler, there is nothing for you here. This is a place where things end, not where they begin." The young woman stopped and turned to him. Her name was Alara, and she was a student who traveled the world looking for wisdom. She saw the deep sadness on Kaelen's face and the pain in his hands. She felt a great pity for him. "I am looking for the wise man of the mountain," she said, her voice clear and gentle. "People say he lives high above this village. They say he understands why things happen the way they do. But tell me, sir, what great sadness do you carry that makes you feel like your own home is an ending?" All the sadness that Kaelen had held inside for so long suddenly burst out. He told her everything: the joy his hands once gave him, the life he put into stone, and the awful constant pain that had stolen his life's work and his hope. "My life is now like a block of stone that can never be carved," he said, his voice shaking. "I am in a prison of pain. Please, when you find this wise man, ask him for me. When will my pain stop?" Ilara looked at the great artist, who now looked like a statue of his own sadness, and she nodded her head. "I will ask him," she promised, "and when I come back down, I will give you his answer. Please wait for me." Ilara continued her long and hard journey up the mountain, through the thick fog and on the dangerous paths. At last, she came to a small, hidden cave. This was where the wise man lived. He was a very old man with eyes that shined like stars. He listened quietly as Ilara told him about Kaelen the artist and his question full of pain. The wise man closed his old eyes, and a great silence fell over the mountain. After a long time, he opened them again and spoke. His voice was soft, like the sound of wind in the leaves. "The artist's future is written," he said gently. "He is set to live with his pain for 1,000 more days." Ilara's heart felt heavy. 1,000 days, she said. "Sir, he does not feel strong enough to live for even 100 more days like this. This news will break him completely. Is there no other way? Is there no hope?" The wise man looked at her with a soft, knowing smile. "His future is written, that is true, but the story is not finished. There is a way. Go back to him and tell him this. Every time he feels a shot of pain in his hands, he must find a reason to thank them. He must thank them for the memory of the art they made, for the feeling of his tools, for the life they once held. He must say it from his heart. Thank you for everything you have given me." Ilara is confused by this advice, but she trusted the wise man. She made her way back down the mountain. She found Kaelen waiting, his eyes empty, but with a tiny spark of hope. When she saw him, he cried out, "What did the wise man say? What will happen to me?" Ilara sat down in front of him. Her voice was soft. He said, "You have 1,000 more days of this pain ahead of you." The tiny spark of light in Kaelen's eyes went out. A sad sound came from his throat. 1,000 days! That is a lifetime! I cannot do it! I can't! "But wait," Ilara said quickly, putting a gentle hand on his arm. "He also gave you a key. He told you how to get through the pain. The wise man said that with every single feeling of pain, you must not curse your hands, but you must thank them. Thank them with your whole heart for the beautiful things they made and for the joy they brought you. You must truly say the words, 'Thank you for everything.'" Kaelen just stared at her. "Thank my pain? Thank the parts of my body that have hurt me so much? That is crazy." "Maybe it is," Ilara replied softly. "But you have nothing left to lose by trying, do you?" And so, with nothing left but a small bit of trust in a stranger's words, Kaelen began. That night, when a sharp pain shot through his hands, he closed his eyes and through his teeth, he whispered, "Thank you. Thank you for the memory of carving the great lion statue." It felt silly. It felt wrong. The next day, another wave of pain came. This time he whispered, "Thank you for the feeling of the smooth, cool stone under my fingers." For a moment, he could almost feel it again. When he felt his wrists ache, he said, "Thank you for the strength you once had to lift my heavy tools." Days passed, and then weeks. Every time the pain came, instead of letting anger fill his mind, he met it with a memory and a quiet thank you. He thanked his hands for the feeling of workshop dust, for the hard skin that showed his years of work, for the gift of creating beauty that would last longer than him. Slowly, so slowly you could not see it happening, something started to change. The anger that was always in his stomach began to disappear. The fog in his mind started to clear. He began to see other things than just his pain. He noticed the fresh taste of the mountain water. He heard the happy song of a bird outside his window. He started to feel not just the pain in his hands, but also the warmth of the sun on his skin. And then an amazing thing happened. The fog that had covered the village for years began to lift. Bright rays of sunlight came down, touching the village for the first time in a long time. The warmth seemed to go right into the stones of the houses and into Kaelen's body. The stiffness in his hands began to lessen, and the pain was not as sharp as it used to be. One morning, he picked up a small piece of soft wood and a small knife. His hands were still weak, and they still hurt, but he could control them. He began to carve a small bird. It was not a great piece of art like his old statues, but it was something. It was hope carved out of wood. A few months later, Ilara came back. She couldn't believe her eyes. The village was bright with sunlight, flowers were growing, and the air was filled with the happy sound of children. And there, sitting outside his workshop, was Kaelen. His face was calm, and he was carving a small animal. His hands were no longer a sign of his pain, but tools of his quiet joy. She hurried back up the mountain to the wise man. "Master," she said, "it's a miracle. You said he had 1,000 days of pain, but it has only been a short time and his life is completely changed. How did this happen?" The wise man smiled his calm old smile. Yes, 1,000 days of pain were written for him, but he chose not to live in that pain. Every time he replaced an angry thought with a thankful one, he brought a little sunlight into his own soul. He learned the lesson the pain was there to teach him without getting lost in the sadness. What was written as 1,000 days of hard times, he turned into a short time of deep learning. He did not change his future. He lived it with a good heart, and by doing that, he made a new and better future for himself. The story of Kaelen the artist is like a mirror for our own lives. We all have our own kind of pain. A job we lost, a friend who left us, a mistake we made, a problem that won't go away. Like Kaelen, we can feel trapped in a cold, foggy place, looking at our own broken hands and asking, when will this stop? The wise man's message holds a deep truth for all of us. The way to get out of our pain is not to wish for it to go away, but to change how we see it. Complaining and feeling angry only make the pain worse, but being thankful is a powerful tool for change. When Kaelen decided to thank his hands, even when they hurt, he changed his focus from what he had lost to what he once had. It did not make sense at first, but it was the key that opened the door to his freedom. This is the magic of our own spirit. When we start to find good things even in our hard times, when we learn to say thank you for the lessons that our struggles teach us, our mindset changes. We stop feeling like a victim and start feeling like a student. A good mindset does not make our problems disappear, but it gives us the strength to deal with them. It lets the sunlight in through the fog of our sadness. Your life is not defined by what happens to you. It is defined by how you choose to react. Kaelen's hands still hurt sometimes, but he was no longer a prisoner of his pain. He was a creator again, building a new life of peace and happiness. So always remember, your life doesn't change when your problems get easier. It changes when your mindset gets stronger. When you learn to be thankful in every situation, you can turn your failures into lessons, your struggles into strength, and your dreams into your reality. So friends, you have seen how Kaelen's world changed when he learned to be grateful. Life doesn't change when the problems go away. Life changes when our attitude changes. If you liked this story, then please hit the like button and share it with others. Also, comment below, what is the greatest pain in your life now? And if you want to hear more stories like this to inspire you, then make sure to subscribe to Mindset Matters and press the bell icon button. I will see you in the next video with another inspiring story. Until then, stay blessed and take care.